She's starting, so she clearly has 0. Oh, really? I have a crisp phone. You know what my phone is? iPhone 8. It works, but I actually after changing charging port, F1 connecting Starlight, call man said they have the charging port. So I had to drop my phone on Friday, and then fix it and pick it back up. They right there, Starlight, you know, upstairs. They're official. Yeah. So okay, if you go, you know how to get upstairs, right? When you go upstairs, they are like almost to the opposite end of the stairs. But here's no. Oh, that's what you went? Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's near to the tattoo parlor, right? So I went, and the guy, yeah, they ordered it for me and brought it in, and I have to drop my phone off because it'll take a couple hours to change. All right, hey, Noah, how you doing? What's going on? Yo. Upstairs Starlight. Okay, right, yeah. So I'm gonna take a little roll there. Right, so it's not here. Alright, so Jalen came back. Javier is here, Desiree here. Where Josiah and Shimon, they gone? They left, they gone? Alright. Jolie here, Kiona here. Well, hopefully Liam will come back on. Marcus still here, right? Yeah. What in Marcus here? No online and here page here. Valentino and Ziani. Alright, cool. Alright. Hey, thanks for the likes, guys. Appreciate it. Yo. Not there? I put out a rule today. Because I got a day after you. Yes. Trying to cut it off, Marcus. Trying to cut it off, Marcus. Happy. Trying to cut it off, Marcus. Marcus, page no. Time to get to the part, Marcus. No, exploding your partner. All right. Oh, it's Liam. Right. Hey Liam, come on. Good to see you on. This is 7, right? Yeah, man. Okay. So we're gonna tackle the 2022 paper. I had to print it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, cool. So 2022, right? It's 4 pages. God damn. Yeah, I agree. That's 10 all, yeah, boy. All right, small thing. All right, guys. Hold on, guys. I know I sent the made papers in the chat already. Yeah, 2022. Yeah, so Liam and Noah, you can pull it up. It's the May 2022 paper. Alright. TikTokers normally wave at everybody. Hey, look, Beanie's come back. We're going on. Karina, D, Salo, Jabari, Talia, Chelsea, Right, okay. I'm not saying everybody, so. But then calling name, don't feel a house. Hey, look, Mr. Lulu, come boy. Long time no see. You good? Alright. Alright, guys. In the meantime, I'll let print. Let's go on the screen, guys. Let's go on the screen and take a look at the question, right? So again, May 2022. So a school nurse, right, records the height H centimeters of the 150 students in class A who was vaccinated. A little bit English yesterday, right? The height of each of them who was vaccinated. Each of the 150 who was vaccinated. No. It's the height of each of the 150 of each of them who. Oh, anyhow, right. Okay, so she record the height. Okay, is it 150? No problem, right. The table below shows the information. Let's take a look at this. Right, so we have from 60, greater than 60, less than equal to 80. So we clearly have intervals of how many here? 60 to 80, and 80 to 100 is how many? That's intervals of 20, right? That's the class width. Okay, number of students. So the frequency of each interval there. All right, here what we're going to do. We're going to start off by doing the CF one time. So in the, in the first interval, so only have one interval, right? Is it booster? Well, 150. Because they told us that is 150, right? So it's, all right, so 4 plus 20 will give us what? Right. Oh, come on, man, Philip, give yourself. Right. Right. 24. Right. And now, hold on. Finish print? All right, hold on. I'm going to give it out in the meantime. All right, there's 4 sheets. Sorry, I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting I get older. So the older I get, the less relevant my right. So in that we get a very famous and then you come out, please. You drive the car to the front of the desk. Okay, ladies and gents, there we go. So first things first, let me just get a little CF going just to warm the brain up. So 4 plus be this, right? 4 and 20 is right. 24 and 35 is good. 59 and 20 and 67 is okay. 59 is close to 60, right? What's 60 and 60? If you add the 7 you get and minus 1. What? 126 plus 20 is 146, and 146 plus 4 is 150, right? Cool. So this cumulative frequency matches with what they told us about the total number of students. So we okay with that, right? Okay, scroll now. Calculate the complete the table below and use the information to calculate an estimate of the mean height of the students. Give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. Hold on 1 second. Is this not on? It is on. Okay, cool. Sorry. Right. Go back here. I'm going back. Yeah, right. So remember in the previous question, ladies and gents, we had group data, right? And with the group data, when they wanted the average or the mean, we had to multiply what? The frequency by the midpoint for the class interval. We had to then add up all those products and divide by the total number of students, right? So we need, well, look, they did it first basically, right? So look, they have the frequency here. That's the same as above, right? 420, 35, 67, 20, and 4. Right, okay, cool. Right, so the midpoint is the class interval, the midpoint of the class interval, right? So halfway between 60 and 80 is 70. Halfway between 80 and 100 is 90. So they have that. Now we're missing one. So we have to find that. And then to find this, they say f multiplied by x. So you took this value and multiplied by that value. So you took 4 multiplied by 70, and that gives us 280, not so? Right. So what we want to do, we want to find the missing midpoint and the missing product, after which we could then continue to find the mean. Right, if you're dealing with ungrouped or raw data. If it's group data, it's just n over 2. Because the group data is already kind of smushed together. So, for fx over f, right? So, man, say hello, good night. 1 doubles, medium pepper, and apple J, please. Eaten here and don't wrap it. All right, cool, no problem. How's that comment? Anyhow, right. So what we're doing, guys, is we're trying to find this value here. How we find that value? We go to the class interval, add the upper and lower, what you call it, limits, and divide by 2. Yeah. Actually, I almost moved doubles this morning, but I ran late. Right, I'm seeing some values there. Right, I'm seeing Talia, Day, right, and Jabari. Okay, cool. Right. So if you notice, just by the way, what's the pattern here? From 70 to 90, from 90 to 110, from 150 to 70s. So clearly from 110 to here would be 130, and then 130 to 150 is 20 again, right? So the pattern holds. All right, cool. All right. Nishan, how are you doing? Evening. How the number of students going down, like this item here? But that's just how many people in each of these groups, right? So the height starts at 60 centimeters and tops out at 180. So what is saying, people who measure between 60 and 80 centimeters, you only have 4 of those people, right? And then you only have 20 people in this batch, 35 in this interval, 67 in this interval, etc. Right? So no, it's not ascending or descending. It's just yeah, correct. The values that happen to be there. Say again, sorry. Yeah, right. That would be the mean, right? So the value here we would get by multiplying 67 by 30. Right. So after you get that value, yes, you would add all of them. Sorry, my bad. 1 second. Yeah. Right. So when you multiply 67 by 1, somebody said with 78 to 78 10. I'll just double check it, right? 8710, sorry. Right. So now that we have that, guys, y'all can do the work too, you know. That's why I gave you the printout. Right? You done? All 4 pages? Oh, okay. Free fire and me. All right, thanks very much. Right. So now we have to add going down. Right. Mental calculation, or what are you feeling? 280 and 80, that's 2080. 2080, and that is 59, 30. 59, 40, 66, 40. 66, 40? Yeah. 14, 66, 14, 640. 17, 640. 18, 240. 18, 320. 18, 320. All right, cool. Right. And when we add up the number of students, so we did that before, right? And they told us the total number here is 150. So to find the estimate of the mean height, right? We divide, sorry, yes, question? Oh, right? To find the estimate, so the mean, right? So that's equal to the sum of the f by x as the product of f by x, right? And you add up, right? That the weird looking E or the sideways M, some people like to call it, right? That's sigma, right? It's a Greek letter or symbol meaning add, is that like the letter S, right? Divided by the sum of the frequencies, right? So that's just those two numbers. So 18,320 divided by 150. And is that correct to 1 decimal place? Okay, cool. Let's plug it up in the calculator. Right, so 122.1. Don't forget to put the units as centimeters, right? Because it's an estimate of the mean, right? Italia, right? Italia, yes. Meh. And you left out decimal place. They said one decimal place, yeah? So you had to get them what they asked for. All right, Liam and Noah, are we okay with the estimate of the mean there? If you're good, give me a G. If you have any questions, please let me know. No problem. All right. No problem. Yeah, no, that's fine. You can answer. I don't mind. Okay, this symbol is the Greek letter sigma, and it means the sum of. No, that's just my custom. It's just the formula. Right. 120, right? So watermelon sugar. We're gonna vibes. All right. That's where sheep is going to cut their hair by the barber. Or when they want to drink, let's go by the bar. Or when they get locked up in jail, they behind bars. Well, sometimes they might have a ban, man. I don't know. If I tell too much, it's a ban, man. I still in sheep mode, you know. Yeah, yeah. Like I work in Sasha Cosmetics, yeah. Makeup on the spot. All right. No, right? Oh, that's how you mark it correct. Yeah. All right, cool. What paper is this? This is from the May 2022 paper. We just work in stats, Denise. Just tonight, stats and props. Right. In class, people, are we okay with the calculation of the mean? Any questions, anybody, anything? Okay, we're scrolling up. All right. In class B, the mean height of the students is 123.5 centimeters, and the standard deviation is 29.87. You all ever thought what standard deviation in school? Okay. All right, cool. For class A, the standard deviation is 21.38. Okay. Now, the standard deviation, oh, sorry, how to find the midpoint? When did miss? Okay, to find the midpoint, answer that question, right? To find the midpoint, you take the upper class limit plus the lower class limit and divide by 2. So in any particular one, yeah, upper and lower class limit, yeah, and then divide by 2. Yeah. Yeah, free fire. Thanks for answering. Thanks. Right, Lindsay. Hope you're okay with that. Right. Okay, check this. The standard deviation is a measure. Okay, check this, right? Number, I need to put some numbers to show you what I'm talking about, right? If we have a group of numbers, right? Let's say group 1 was 5, 5, 5, 5, and 5, right? And let's say you want to find the average of those numbers. Well, how do you find the average of 5 numbers? You add them up and divide by 5, not so? So 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 25, right? And if we divide that by the number of I, which is 5 itself, what do we get? We get 5. So this here is the mean. Now the mean is supposed to be a representative value of every single value in the data set. This is the data set. So this is supposed to represent perfectly all of these numbers here. Does it do that job? It does it very well because that 5 is the exact value of every single value in the data set. Okay. Follow me. Stay with me. I'm not done. Right. 5, 4, 3, 6, 7. Do we have different numbers here? We do. We have one number is the same. Cool. So 3 and 4 is 7. 7 and 5 is 12. 12 and 6 is 18. 18 and 7 is 25. If we divide that by 5, guess what we get? 5. So in this data set with different numbers, right, 80% different numbers, we have the same mean. Not so? Okay. Does this mean, which is the average of the numbers, does that do as good a job of being representative of each of these data points as this one does in set 1? No, right? Because it's not equal exactly to 4 or to 3 or to 6 or to 7. It's exactly equal to 5, which is 1 out of the 5 data points, 20%. So you exactly represent 20% of the people, but the next 80% hard luck. But you're not far from them, right? Okay. Right. 5, and 15. Now here we have negative numbers all kind of thing. Minus 5 and 5 will cancel the 0. We have a next 0. What's 10 and 15? 25. And 25 divided by 5 is what? 5, right? So we have a third data set here with the same mean. But look at the numbers here. This is positive. So one of the numbers is negative. So we definitely don't have representation there. One is 0. One of them is 5. The next two are 10 and 15. So does this blue mean of 5 does as good a job of representing each of the data points in its data set as the green one does? No, right? The quality of representation is falling, right? Now that has to do with how far the mean is from each of the data points, right? If we were to take the green set, right? So each of these values is 5, right? If we subtract the mean, if we subtract each of those values from the mean, 5 minus 5 is always going to be 0. So there's no what we call deviation or no dispersion, right? All of those values, right, are exactly the same as the mean, and the mean is exactly, what is this? Not any people who check this. Oh yeah, Aqua Monster, yeah, that's me. Gina. Gina is asking, hi, good night, sis. One of your student name is Josiah Pantin. Yes, he was here. He came riding on a bike. He left riding on a bike. Right, okay. Right, hold on, just now, follow me, right. So dispersion has to do with how far each of the data points is from the mean. In the first set, do we have any dispersion? Are the data points any distance from the mean? No. In the second one, so let me shift around some stuff real quick, right? Right. In the second one, let me say you take away the mean, right? So if you take away, well, forget negatives, right? How far away from 5 is 3? The value of 3 is 2. How far away from 5 is 4? That's 1. How far away from 5 is 5? 0. What about 6? 1. And what about this one? 2, right? If we do the same thing for this blue set across, if we get some bigger numbers, right? We will get, this is actually 10 away, this is 5 away, 0, this is 5, this is 10, right? So between this one and this one, which has a greater level of dispersion? Which of these sets, yeah, has the data points further away from the mean? The blue set 3, right? So the bigger the level of dispersion is, the less reliable the mean, or as a matter of fact, all 3 measures of central tendency, mean, mode, and median, is the less reliable there. Jabari, can you say standard deviation is the difference? Jabari, yes. And Lindsay, good job. Thanks for putting it. I don't mind. You go ahead. Right. So here, these numbers are actually closer to the mean of 5 than these numbers here, based on those calculations on the side that I circled. You agree with that? Right, so that's called the level of dispersion, how far away each of the data points is from the mean. So it's less in the pink set, but it's more in the blue set. So when the level of dispersion is higher rather than lower, the reliability of the mean as a measure of representation for each of the data points is lower. So as your dispersion gets higher, your reliability of the mean gets lower. And of course, when your dispersion is lower, your reliability of the mean as a representative value gets higher. All right. So what that allows us to do is to assess whether or not looking at a mean for a set of data makes sense. Right? If you have a very high level of dispersion, then the mean is not really a representative value. Right? It's not going to tell us much about the data set. All right? Now, the standard deviation, put very simply, is if we were to take an average of all of these deviations. Now, the calculation is a little complicated. You are not required to know it. All you are required to know is how to comment on the standard deviation. Long story short, the lower the standard deviation, the closer the data points are to the mean. The higher the standard deviation, the further they are from the mean. So if they have a lower standard deviation, which means the data points are on average closer to the mean, it means that the mean in that case is a bit more reliable because it's closer on average to the data points. When the standard deviation is higher, it means that each value is on average further away from the mean, which means that the average is a less reliable representative value of the data points in the data set, right? This is the May 2022 paper, right? what dispersion means. Dispersion means how far away each data point, so like each of these values here or here, how far away they are from their respective means. All right. What does dispersion matter? That's what it means, right? And it matters because the higher level of dispersion is the less reliable the mean or any other measure of central tendency. The less reliable it tends to be as representative values of the entire data set, right? Let's give all the statistics and wanted to know little bits and pieces, but the whole picture is really good to see. But I mean, it's have other ways to explain it, but not give you the whole picture. But I like detail. And I have trouble cutting the detail down sometimes. Anyhow, so I hope that helps at least a little bit to understand what dispersion is, right? So again, if we go back to the top here, in class B, the mean height is 123.5, right? In sorry, and the standard deviation is 29.87. For class A, the standard deviation is 21. Okay, so hold on just now. We worked out the mean for class A, right? This is class A. Okay, class A, right? So the mean is 122.1, right? So 122.1 centimeters is the mean, right? So in class B, is the standard deviation for class B higher or lower than for class A? For class B, B is higher. So it means that on average, each of its data points is further away from its mean than for class A. Sorry, Aqua Monster. Yes, it is C-Sec math. That's correct. Right. Right. For class A, the standard deviation is this. Right. Okay. Now look what they say. Using the information provided and your response in A, comment on the distribution of the heights of the students in both class A and class B. All right. So maybe I'm a little rusty on my commentary, but I'm really not sure how to comment on the distribution of the heights, because the distribution to me is how to see like the values or the curve or whatever. But like I say, maybe I'm a little rusty, but sometimes it's asked for things in strange ways. So it is mean one thing, but say something like you remember when we were in for POA, they were asking, comment on the significance of the ratio. Like, what do you mean the significance of the ratio? Do you mean what the ratio means? Explain what the ratio means. Yeah, it's like someone trying to be fancy. If you moderate in math, can you lure us? I not moderating anything, brother man. I not even in the system. I left. All right, so yeah, all I can do is bark on Instagram and get made into a meme. Apparently. Anyhow, all right. What color I want to put this in? That's not even up. Okay, right. Okay, so now check this. Even after all that explanation, right? Let me say you had no clue what standard deviation is or how to comment on this distribution. What you need to then look at is this item down here. 1 mark. So if you had to actually skip it out, right? Would it make that big a difference? Not really. Don't hurt up your head over a 1 mark question if you have other questions in the paper that are 2, 3, 4, 5 marks that you don't have to hurt your head up over, right? Now, to be fair, I want to give you an answer. I got this for mock, right? Didn't know what it means or what to put. She forgot to teach us. It's kind of new. And if you're not paying attention to the syllabus, you wouldn't know it there. How you got 122 points, you mean? Right, so 122.1. So what we did, we had to multiply each of these pairs going across. Right, so 4 by 70, 20 by 90. Then you had to add all of them going down to get this total. And we divide that by the total number of students. So that's how I got 122.1, all right? Who is our add maths? Yeah, I know from add maths too. When you comment in, like you got to work it on these lines. Yeah, boys. I mean, they give you enough lines if it's right big, right? So you don't have to fill all the lines. It's only 1 mark. Yeah. You know, I don't even know what they mean by going on a curve, right? I know about CF curve, but they say to do that. So then what does do? Yeah. The lower the standard deviation is, right? The closer the individual data points are to the mean, right? The closer they are to the mean means that, well, I didn't mean to use it with mean, yeah. The closer the smaller the standard deviation, the closer on average the data points are to the mean. Which in turn goes on to say that the mean, therefore, is a good representative value of each and every data point in the data set. I know there's plenty of words, right? Okay. All right. Was this live just started? A bit confused. Yeah, we started about 6:45, 6:50. We doing some statistics questions, and we're just going through the May 22 question here. And we hit a point here with something called standard deviation. So I mean, I know what I would like to say here, but for 1 mark, I find there's a lot. Let me just ask a friend. I don't phone a friend, right? Let us see. Hey, evening, quick question. This came on the May 2022 paper for a mark. They're asking, they give the mean and the standard deviation. They say, using the info provided and your response, comment on the distribution of the heights in both class A and class B. Maybe I rusty. I'm not even sure how to do that based on what I've given, right? Comment on the distribution. To me, I only think about positive skew, negative skew. What I think I could see is that there's less dispersion in class A because the standard deviation is lower relative to class B. So there's more dispersion in class B than class A because its standard deviation is higher. Would that work? Is that correct? Right. Autocorrect on the circle. Uh-huh. Right. Say it's spread out. Some people are taller. Oh, Shaft. Yes, this is CISA. That's correct. Strange topic. It is. It is. All right. Yeah, guys. So that's what I'm going to put here for my comment, right? So my comment is that there since do I want hold on, let me try the other thickness. I find this writing kind of squiggly, right? Right. So since the SD, wow, that's a D boy. Since the SD is lower for class A than for class B, class A, than for class B, this implies that there is a lower degree of dispersion a lower degree of dispersion in class A than in class B. Right, so that's what we're gonna do. Yeah. So when the deviation is higher, it's much more varied. Right. So there's that. So I actually just explained a little while ago, Star. I just explained it. Right. So what you just said, right? The mean that is a good representative as to how Lindsay, you know. So that's what topic I'm on. This is under statistics, Sharada. All right, so hold on. So let me just summarize it again for anybody who may have missed it, right? The standard deviation is a measure of how far on average each data point in the data set is from the mean, right? So the lower the standard deviation, the closer the values are to the mean, right? Which means in turn that the mean is a good representative value of each and every data point in the data set. In other words, there's a lower level of dispersion, right? The data points are kind of clustered together as opposed to far apart. Because when they're clustered together, the reliability of the mean and other measures of central tendency as representative values of each and every data point in the data set is good, is higher than if the standard deviation, if the level of dispersion measured via the standard deviation is higher. So when the standard deviation increases, it means that the dispersion of the data increases. So the data points are further apart. And when there's a higher degree of dispersion, it means that the reliability of the mean and other measures of central tendency is not as high. It's not as good, all right? It's like this 5 here, the average of these 5 5s was a perfect representation. This value of 5, this mean of 5, perfectly represented every single data point in the data set. This 5 came from a different data set where all the numbers were different. So its reliability was not as good as the first 5 because there was some dispersion in the data, right? They weren't the exact same value, which hardly ever happens, right? Now, in the third set, there was an even higher degree of dispersion, right? The values were further away from the mean than for either of the previous 2 sets. So what that means is that the mean is not a very good representative value of each and every data point in the data set, right? Measure of spread between data sets, right? How far close to this? Good. For example, mean deviation implies spread of different, right? Right. So just be careful, Futa. They don't have to know about mean deviation, but I like it. I do. Right. Variance can also be called mean square deviation, right? From the mean and each react. Okay, that's correct. Yeah. Hey, Mira, even why am I so complicated? It's not necessarily complicated. It can't get that way, Mira. Right. So Mira, let's start then. Okay. All right. So maybe we can just move on and come back to this, right? I am lost. What are the chances of it coming? Well, as good as anything else on the paper, cable. All right. Okay. So yeah. My in class people, are we okay with that stuff? Right. Liam and Noah, talk. Where Noah gone? Yeah, Liam, if you're okay, let me know what's going on. You good? All right. You're all right. All right, guys. So, Mr. Seret, good evening. It's a slim chance. LOL. All right. How do you find median? Well, it depends on the type of data you have seen. All right. But we're doing some questions here, so we will do the questions, right? Anything else here? Hey, it have more? Yeah. Oh, good. All right. Question was like diarrhea, but it didn't stop. All right. All right. All right. So let me go again there. Mr. Seret, so you're still there? I heard a rumor. I want to say it out loud on the chat. I want to cause panic. Yeah, you're there? All right. I'll DM you now. All right. I'll send you a pick again. But I want to spread no any rumors on the chat without verifying. Anyhow, right. Right. Just in case anybody panicking, it's not about a leak. Nothing has leaked. Right? Nothing has leaked. Behave on yourself. Stop spreading rumors. So no. Right. 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 Hold on. Now I don't know if that's true because when maths leaked, it did leak a couple of years ago. They just scrap it, and they didn't have a second sitting. Yeah. They scrapped paper 2 and they just didn't mark like in COVID. They based it on paper 1 and ESP. That's it. When it had actually leaked in 2023, right? All right. Right, there we go. Complete the CF table below and use the info to construct a CF curve on the grid provided on page 19. All right, cool. Right, so guys, how do we... Yeah, okay, thanks. Now it's the same information from the first page. So we did it already. We did it first, right? So 4 plus 20, 24. 24 and 35 is, as you said, 59. 15 and 67 is 126. 126 and 20 is 146. All right, I'll send it just now, answer. When I get them some work to do, I'll just jump on the ARP. There's plenty paper printed away. All right, so use your CF. Okay, when we plot in the CF, guys, what do we plot on the horizontal and what on the vertical? On the vertical, oh, hold on, just now, sorry. Right. The vertical is the Y, correct. On the vertical axis, you always plot the CF, right? And the CF in this case is the students. On the vertical axis, you always plot in your cumulative frequency, right? And on the horizontal, you plot in the variable you're measuring, which in this case is the height in centimeters, right? So on your x-axis here, you're plotting the height. As in 150 CF, for your CF, yes, that's correct. All right. Which people as exiled? Huh? Yeah. This is the May 2022. We just doing the stats on product today. Right. I show it on. Everything. I like I should thinking, yeah. Shouldn't be so bad. We go pull through, yeah. Eating. That's normal. All right, cool. It's justice. We're going on is justice. For vibes. Right. Okay. So sorry, I forgot what I was saying. Right. So when you're plotting your points, the x-axis has the heights. The y-axis has the CF. But what specific value from here are we can't plot the range. We can't plot the whole interval. We got to plot a value, a x value to a y value. No, Abigail, no, it did not. It did not. Right. So, well, not 7, 80.5. Right. So you need to plot the upper class boundary versus the CF, right? So in every case here, you're going to plot the upper class. So 80.5 or 100. So in this case, again, we're going to need to break the axis, right? Because remember, if we starting from 80.5 and going to how much? 180, right? Well, look, they give it to you there. Look, they actually give you some points in. So they gave you some. So you have to plot, I think about 1, 2 more, 3 more. Hold on, how many intervals we had there? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 intervals, and they gave you 1, 2, 3, 4 values. So yeah, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values. So you only have one value to plot, and that value clearly has to be the one you were missing here. So it's 120.5 versus 59, right? So here what you're doing, you're going on your graph, and you're plotting the 120.5 against the 59, and then you're drawing your curve. Right, hold on. Beanies. What's going on? Everything all right? Sabanza. Hope I said that correctly. You can do that, but you can print something between now and then. Right, Mario. We can, well, Mario, we cannot do in CF as we go along every time, right? CF, right, footer mass TV. Upper class boundaries. Yeah, you could use upper class boundaries. I have also seen upper class limits. I think it depends on the data type footer. I think if you are doing discrete data, right, I think it's upper class limit because there will be no upper class boundary technically, right? Because if it's like number of people, number of cars, that kind of stuff. If it's discrete data, then we can't do 0.5s. If it's continuous data like this, which is what is this, boy? Come on, man, Philip, give yourself. This is what? This is height. Yeah, height is continuous, right? So you could use the upper class limits there. From what I remember, right? I think I even saw midpoints once, but I do use midpoints. Right? To me, the CF curve had a kind of match with the histogram, and the histogram will use the what? I will use the boundaries of a class. Right. You all draw the graph? I see no CF curves. All right. You wait on page to do what? That no? No. When you see it was 4 pages I gave all you. Not 4 pages I gave all you. What printed here? Right here. All right. Well, if they're on the line, then use what they give you. Right. Right. And then the last one. Really cool. It's the hardest thing for me to do. Right? Nah, that open. I'll go for just now, right? Right. So draw the graph, you plot in this value, the times. Yeah. Zero. Right. I thought he said we were just adding the corresponding CF. Well, that's part it, then yeah. But then, yeah, 59. Yeah. Right. You're adding, all right, to get, to accumulate means to build up or to add up, right? So the first frequency is 4, so therefore the corresponding CF is 4. If you take the first two groups together, 4 and 20 is 24, right? If you then take the first three groups, right? So 4 and 20 is already 24. So 24 plus 35 is 59. That's not 59. All right, Lindsay? And then if you take the next, all 4 is 59 plus 67. And if you take all 5, it's 126 plus that 146. And then if you take the whole thing, you get 146 plus 4 is 150. It depends on how crooked. They accept a range because obviously they know people can't draw perfect lines, right? So they accept a range. Am I going to be live tomorrow? Yeah, from 10 to 12, 1 to 3, 4 to 6 and half, 6 to half 8. But tomorrow, I'll tell you what we're working at. The first two hour sessions, 10 to 12 and 1 to 3, you're probably working in measurement questions, right? All them cylinders and volumes and all that kind of thing. People like that. And then the next two sessions, depending on people's degree of fatigue and frustration, I have some simple geometry questions lined up and I have these sequences. But people were asking for some circle geometry and some vectors. Now, I don't have time to compile the questions. That's the problem. I have some compiled, but not all that I would like to compile at the way I would like to compile them. But that mightn't matter, to be honest, right? So I'll see. Cloudy and Zane. Let me know. Oh, you mean just me going live? Let the topics. Okay, no problem. Right. Lindsay. Right. Content. Huh? Alex? Everything all right? All right. All right. Measurements. Yeah, it could be a bit challenging. All right, so let me see if we can get this in. So we had to plot the 35 to 59. Is that one? Or the 140 to 126? We had that. So we had to do the 120 to the 59. Right, so 120, and this is 60 here, right? Now each of these, so again, each of these squares is 10, but each of them is made up of 5 little squares, little blocks. So if you have 10 broken up into 5 pieces, 10 divided by 5 is 2. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 20. Right. So to get 59, that's going to be between 58 and 60. Right? So you're looking at a point kind of halfway there. Right? It's the practice. All right. Jonathan Bagwandas. Yeah, it was a bit much. Aaliyah, nah, leaving that for a while again. That done gone already. That makes sense to even go through that. But I have a reason to go through it. I just don't have time. Right? Because we're doing maths up until Friday. Right after Friday, we starting some hard math stuff on Saturday. Going right up to the exam with that. After that is accounts paper 1 for the weekend, and earlier in the day after accounts paper 1 is hard maths paper 1, and that crowded already. And then right after that is maths paper 1. So I had to see what's going on. So yeah. Yeah, most people don't finish properly, to be honest. Right, okay, the next value is what? 140 to 126 and 160 to 140. Okay, 160. Right, so 160 is this line here. And we're going to go to 146, right? How's about it? Right. So now is, for me, the most challenging part of the math exam. Drawing the curve. Smoothly and neatly. That looks pretty good, actually. I like to go from the top down. And I miss the damn thing. That's pretty good too, actually. Yeah. So you see when I miss that one in the middle there? It's just economic. Sure, I had no time for econ. Extra. Do you put everything else up with class boundary? You can do class limit or class boundary depending on the type of data. Yeah, but usually both are acceptable. But because it's group data, it shouldn't matter. Yeah. So around here, I kind of mess up. Yeah. Was it not like terribly off? Like it passed through most of the points? That barely is a little issue, but I'll tell you why that's an issue. Because you see, what we have to find next is the median. They want the median. So the median would be the data point halfway in the distribution, halfway up the curve, right? Now, how many people we have? We have 150, right? Now, for 150, the median is 75, 150 divided by 2. So we got to find the 75th person, and then we across the curve, and then down for the height. All right? Sorry. So the 75th person, so I need a different color than pink. Right. Feel like a little too bright. Anyhow, let me see. So the 75th person would be about here. And then down. I know the green kind of small. Sorry, hold on. Yeah, Jonathan, that was rubbish. The investment assistant, oh, right? Robotic arms really good. So are you so smart? Practice, practice, practice. Asking questions, accepting that mistakes are part of the process, learning not to feel badly about making them, and learning from them. Having good teachers as well. Yeah, true. That's a big issue I have with the syllabus. Very, very big. Right. Sorry. Zane. Practice. That's correct. Yeah. Same paper. Yeah. 19.3 grams and only shenanigans. All right. Okay, cool. So that value down there, right? So that's between two of the other lines, right? So between, so let me get that a little straighter. Right. So this one is 130. So yeah. So it's the same 10, 1 to 10, right? So that's 122, 124. So in between is 123. I've yet to understand anything. I see. Maybe go and check like one of my past lives, no? Right? If this is not clicking, then it mightn't be a good editor force it. It might do more damage than good. You want to take a look now? My channel have plenty lives for maths. Just look at the maths topics and see what you like and see what might click now. I'm not running it. You're free to stay, but if it's not working, it then makes sense to force it. All right. But sorry, I didn't understand anything so far. I'm real sorry about that. Right. Okay. Anybody got a value for the median? Just divide n by 2 because it's group data. Right? So 150 divided by 2 is 75. So you have to find 75 on the y-axis, read across to the curve, and then read down. Right? So I got about 123. Yeah, or 121. That could work too, Lindsay. Yeah, Lindsay, there's a range of acceptable values because that curve could have slanted a little more the other way. Yeah. Pre-fire, that might be a good idea. Two different ways of teaching that. That's madness. 122. 122 could work. Right. So there will be a range of acceptable answers based on, of course, an understanding that no two people will draw the same curve. And when you have a couple tens of thousands of people drawing slightly different curves, you're going to get slightly different. Of course, it'll be in a range, right? It might vary between the 120 and the 125 or 127. Right? So, yeah. 126. That might be, yeah. If your curve kind of bellied a bit more this way, yeah, it might have gotten that, yeah. Okay, cool. Right, so that's how we get that piece there. All right, so to estimate the median, sorry, I'm trying to change my pen color and it's not letting me do it. All right, just now, hold on, huh? One sec, right. Should be opening up back. Right, there you go. Oh, yeah. So they're coming tomorrow? Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, look on top. I'll pull out one piece on top, sorry. You come up, please. Right, so the estimate is approximately 123 centimeters, right? Right, guys, you're on the screen here. Is the live recorded? Yes, it is, right? 123, 124, all that, right? What is the probability that a student chosen at random will be taller than 130 centimeters? So higher than 130, right? Higher than 130. Now 130 lies in the interval 120 to 140. So that's why they said use the graph. Right? So that's why I said use the graph, right? So let's go to the graph. So at height taller than 130, right? So what we're going to do, let's get a different color. Let's get a darker blue. Yeah, dark blue, right? So 130. So we have to go to the x-axis and read up now. Right, actually that line is actually that same solid line. Hold on, I'm gonna use a highlighter instead, right? Yeah. So this line here, right, 130. Read up to the A, and it hits across there, and then we could go straight across along this line here to hit there, and that is 102. So that's 102, right? So up to the 102nd person has a height of 130 or less, but we want more than 130. So that's 102 people out of how many in total? 150. So if 102 have a height of 130 or less, but we want more than 130, it means the remainder people. 48, yeah. Yeah. Right? The one was the probability somebody selected is taller than 130. So if up to 102 people measured 130 or less, then right, so 150 minus the 102 will be everybody else who measures above the 130. And you put it over 150, that's correct. Correct. Right. So the number of people minus the shorter than 130 or shorter divided by 150, right? So that's almost 50. So it's almost one third. So a little less than one third. So that's what? 16. Hmm. Right. So that's 8 over 25. If we divide by 6, which would then give approximately 32%. So yeah, so a little less than one third. KJ, we did some stuff like that already, boy. Check the earlier things in the live. You might on my channel, you might find it. All right, cool. All right, Liam, just give me a quick G figure with the probability here now, please, on time. My graph was off. All right, so we had a fix, right? All right, thanks, Liam. Sorry, what? Yeah, 1 second. I'm gonna just fix something here real quick. Continue. Right. How I get what Q? Sorry. How I got it? Right. So they want to know, right, the probability that a student chosen at random would be taller than 130, right? So you had to go to the graph. I had to find 130 centimeters on this axis here, right? So 130 would be halfway between 120 and 140. Right. Now that's actually one of the slightly more solid grid lines. So you read that grid line straight up till it hit the curve. And then from there, it actually hits a specific line, right? Well, it shouldn't be like significantly different. I hope not. Right. Read across here, right? When you read across, so, okay, so once you read up and then you read across, whatever that value is, as the number of people, right? The total number of people whose height marks out at 130. But it is fine. Once it's the process they're watching, right? So they cater for the fact that different people will draw curves differently, right? So once you read up from the 130, you hit the curve and you read across to the y-axis, you pull in that value. Now that value is the number of people whose height is 130 or less. We want more than 130. So what you would do is you would subtract that number from the 150, the total number of people, because that number would be everybody who's taller than 130. Right? So when you get that number, now you put that back over the 150. All right. So hold on. Sorry, Lindsay, I see something. Wait, hold on, just now. I'm gonna just put this up here. Right? I'm gonna close it off because it keeps throttling me down. Right, Liam can hear me. Who's across here? Lindsay, 0.32. Right, 32, right. So why didn't go on 100 instead of 102? That's just how my curve was, Lindsay. My curve when I read up, it hit here. If it had hit down here, if my curve passed through that point, then it would be 100, right? I said, but one of my students queued and I got that. Her curve passed through that specific point right there. So when she read up and read across, she got 100. So again, different people will draw curves differently. So there'll be a range of acceptable answers, right? So if yours passed through the 100, that's cool. That's not a problem. Yeah. Hmm. What do you mean? Well, here it is, right? There are plenty of things in life we are going like. So you had to find a way to either tolerate, work through, or find a way to get rid of it. And do your own thing, right? Do something else that you could do. Right? Well, like you said, you're probably going to go Maple Leaf, right? So either you abandon. I don't know. I don't know if it happened, right? So you could abandon the second total and just go there. But the thing is, um, I'm not going to say it didn't come this far to come this far, right? But sometimes you have to know when enough is enough, right? But I would say that, look, you're done here already. Finish out the exam season as strong as you can, right? Yeah, I agree. All right. Okay. What year? Okay, we just finished in May 2022. So we're gonna hit the May 2023. God. Oh, it's 2 pages. All right. I think I could deal with that. Dos páginas. Right. How many? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. All right, cool. Sorry. All right. Yeah. Yeah. What vibes? So you read up from 130, you go across. So you get 90. Okay, so it means everybody. So the 90th person, right? You started from here.
Right.
You went up, and you read across. So people, the first 90 people had a height of 130 or less. We want more than 130. So you want everybody from 91 go to 150. That is so to find how many people that is, you just take 90 away from 150. So you will get 60. Minus the 90, yeah. Divide by the 150, yeah. Well, because I thought you said 100, so that's what was going on. No. The mean? No, you don't extract the mean from the graph. The median. Okay, we did median before. All right, guys. All right, so let me just distribute the papers in my class. All right. Circle theorem. All right, I'll take it under consideration, right? So maybe tomorrow, but tomorrow I'll do the measurement for sure. So measurement is the first 2 sessions, 10 to 12 and 1 to 3. Right? I have to ask my class too because my class did circle theorem already. Right? So if enough of them want to review it, cool. If not, then sorry, but I'll have to stick to my plan. All right. So but here what to do. One all the charada, free fire, message me on Instagram. And just make sure that identify yourself from the live. Just tell me who you are. And ask about the circle theorem lives or whatever the case. I'll see if I could possibly make some stuff available to you all on my channel, right? I'm not supposed to make everything available because I'm just giving everything for free. I can't do that, right? But right. Yeah, TikTok. Listen angles. I have geometry on the plan too. Right. Yeah, some people just they miss the idea and they went straight to TikTok. All right. Hey Sean, thanks for sharing. Hey guys. Okay. All right. Does anybody not have a copy? Cool. All right. May 2023. Each of 75 girls recorded the name of her favorite sport. The number of girls who chose track and cricket are shown in the bar chart below. So the paper came a little wobbly, as you could see, right? Linear programming. No, this is just the stats and props. If I wasn't going to show, if it might. There's always a possibility, but I don't know. It came recently, so it mightn't come again. But then again, who knows? All right. So hold on. Yeah, this one. Let me catch up. Right. So how many more girls chose cricket than track as their favorite? Okay, cool. So yeah, this might be a little difficult to do because it kind of blank on that side, right? But hold on. So look, 16 to 20 is how many? It's 4, right? And if you have a halfway point, that had to be what? That had to be 18. So the cricket is kind of halfway between 16 and 18, right? So what value is that? 17? All right, cool. And then the track is 12, right? So how many more? Well, how do we find that? 17 minus 12 is equal to 5. May 2023. Cool. 11 girls recorded tennis as their favorite sport. For the remaining girls, so 11, okay, the remaining girls who chose swimming compared to the number chose for this ratio is 2 to 3. Use the information to complete the bar chart and determine the modal sport. Okay. 11 girls recorded tennis as their favorite sport. All right, tennis, 11. All right, so 11 would be, so let's put some more numbers in now. 16, 7, right, 17. So that's 14, that's 10, that's 6, and that's 2, right? So 11. So 11 would be halfway between 10 and 12, right? Okay. Right. And then I want shapes, actually. That's fine. Yo. Um, it depends. If I just kind of fast track into it, that could take like 30 to 40 minutes. I can't because I can't do it here. Oh, I can't do it on this. It have websites you could go on. I could use to teach it, but I never tried it. Usually. Right. So I could send you content on that if you want. But what to do is WhatsApp me and say, sir, number 10. And what I could do is I'll try and, I'm not sure when I'll do it, but I know how to do it soon because the exam is in 2 days, so less than 2 days. I'll just send you links to the playlist of when I taught it and the past paper stuff. All right? All right. Hurry up. Yeah, okay, sorry, yeah. Right, so that's 11 people there. Right, okay. Now, there's a total of 75 girls, right? Okay. So 17, we have 17 here. You have 12 here, and you have 11 here, right? Okay. It's an amazing life. Oh, thanks. Yeah. No, I'm tired. I'm working since 10 for multiple days in a row. Anyhow, yeah. And the sleep at night not really going that great. So, okay. So for the remaining girls, the number who chose swimming compared to football was two. Okay, cool. So if we have 75 people in total, and they have 5 groups: swimming, tennis. Hold on, did I put that in the right place? I didn't put it in the right place. Hold on, sorry. So come here. So come here. Okay, that looks a little better, right? So this is 11, right? Okay, right, there we go. Right, 11 girls recorded that. Right, so we have to find the remaining. How do we find the remaining girls? That's the question. Right, so you're adding up 11, 12, and 17 and taking it away from 75. Okay, cool. So on the side here, Let's do that. So we have 75 minus, so 11, 12, and 17. That's what? 40? Yeah. So that gives us 35 people, right? And we have to split that into a 2-to-3 ratio. Right. So what do we hey, Dirty Kush boy, what's going on? Good to see you. That's the guy who talked about it in the video. The sauce, man. Yeah. Yeah. Right. What do we do when we have a ratio, guys? What do we do the numbers? We add 2 plus 3 is? So we put each of the numbers over the 5, right? Okay, so now what we do is we multiply that by the 35. 5 will go into 35 how many times? And then 7 by 2 will give us 14 for the swimming, right? And then the 3/5, right? 5 into 35 goes 7 times, and 7 by 3 is 21. Right, so 14 and 21. Swimming and cricket. All right. Sorry. Right, so let's get the shipping. Yo. Was that fine? Well, hold on. If you need the angle, right, you need to put the total number of. Okay, let's say you have 5 items, total 100, right? If one of your items is, let me say, 23, you put 23 over 100 and multiply that by 360. That'll give you the angle. Yeah. Proper for Maths Friday. All right, cool. Us too. Swimming was 14, right? Okay, cool. 14. All right. I think that's a close enough approximation. Right. Lindsay, I'm not sure about the 30. Check the 30. It should be 14. All right. You're most welcome. All right. Right. And then 21 for the football. There we go. So 21 will be halfway between. So you have 22 here. So it's halfway between 20 and 22, right? So let me see if we get a rectangle. That actually came out. Not. All right. Not bad. All right. So you have your 14 here and you have your 21 here. Sorry, looking like a 4. Right, 21. Okay, cool. All right. So 14 and 11 is 25. 17 and 12 is 29. So that's 54. And 54 plus 21 is 75. All right. All right. So I'll give you guys a minute if you're copying anything down. If you have any questions, now's a good time to ask. All right. Yeah, guys. Just give me 1 second for some stuff in the garbage, right?
I came at 6 o'clock. I came at 6 o'clock. I have nothing to do. Chris, I was out all day. I was walking around. He knows how to Chris. By tomorrow, I want to nigga. By tomorrow,
We'll figure it out. Right, cool. I'll go do a past paper. Right here. Okay, so we okay with this piece? Liam, talk to me. Are you okay with the graph? Especially how I got the missing figures? No trust, he said. Yeah, all right, cool. Cool. Yeah, it was, yeah. All right, sorry, we have one more. So use the information to complete the bar chart and then determine the modal sport. So the modal sport is the sport, this bar with the highest, the biggest height, which is what? That's football, right? Yeah, well, that's football. Football. Right, cloudy. I learn more here than whatever was in my lessons. Or am I not discovering you, sir? No problem. Yeah, I've been here for a little while, but anyhow, what we gonna do? Better late than never. All right. One of the girls is selected at random. What is the probability she chose neither track nor cricket as her favorite sport? So if it's neither track nor cricket, now how many girls in total? 75, right? How many chose track? That's 11. How many chose cricket? That's 17. Okay, so you're going to take out track and cricket. That's 28, right? So that's 75 minus 28. That's going to give us 47. Yeah. It was 12? Okay. All right. Sorry. Thank you. Good save. Right. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Yeah. Now, the probability, right? So is this many people liked neither track nor cricket as their favorite, right? So the probability, therefore, is you're going to take the 46 and put it over 75. Yeah. Am I missing messages in the chat? I've seen messages that refer to other ones that I'm not seeing. You know, time speed. Just that is. You could put it as a percentage if you want. Yeah. All right. Yeah, 61.3. All right, cool. Yeah, so you have a 61.3% chance. Jerry Barry. Yes, I've heard that, but we do not know the veracity of that statement. As in, we can't prove if it's true or not. Right? So, in any case, boy, here now, Aido, we are going there now. All right, next. The information on the favorite sport of the 75 girls distribution on a pie chart. Calculate the sector angle for football. Right. So to find the sector angle, we need the number of people for football, which is 21, over the total number of people, which is 75. Right? That's the proportion of the whole. And you multiply that by, it's a pie chart. What shape is a pie chart? A circle. And a sector has an angle. How many degrees? Yeah, it's 360 degrees. Right? So let's do that. Right, so 21 divided by 75 by 360. 100.8 degrees. So 100.8 degrees, or approximately 101. For Castile. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, that's correct. Charada. In 09, it was 08. It was 08. Not 09, 08. It was that and the keeper counting unit 2. That was the year I left teaching in public school. So I remember it quite clearly. Yes, Suki. That's correct. That news is untrue. Sorry. Quartiles, interquartile. Yeah, that's statistics, yeah. I'm surprised we see it in 2020s. From 2019, 21, 22, 23, we see it. Let's see if 2024 have it. Right, so guys, that's the end of the 2023 paper. Does anybody have any other questions on any part of it? We have time for one more, the last one, which is the May 2024. So last year's paper, let's take a look and see what they brought. Okay, so, oh yes, this was the first time they brought that. Okay, so we definitely need to do this. Oh, no. When I say that was the end of that question. I have about 20 minutes again, so I plan to use it as best I can. 2023, yes, there was one. That's correct. Yeah. Yeah. No problem. It happens. 8 and 9 close on the keyboard. Premium, that's correct. All right, well, tomorrow then. Yeah, man. In 20 minutes. 8:30. So in the meantime, you could take a look and see what coming. You can start if you want. 44, everyone. Aquila, G-Star, Zane, High, Queso, 2, Castiel, Lisa Tushai, One Only, Bella, Delhi, Delhi, Anika Grant, Aaron Aaron, Toyas Will, Kimanda, Anthony, Antonia, okay. Maya, Alicia, there's a face. What else we have there, boy? Jen. Hey, look, Mekai, sorry, I got back to you. So, Kenny, boy, we're going on. Divya, Kara, Ayana, Tasha, User, Kyla Lovejack, Talia, XOXO Jam, CBFW vibes. Positivity questionnaire. Yo! Oh, right. 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 I'm printing papers. I waste some time. I'm printing the papers. Right. Do they mark on the curve what percentage? I have no idea, Jerry. Trishana. I'm tired, Trishana. I need to sleep. The curve is depending on us doing it. That's correct. If it is a curve. I do hard to predict exact mark for one by a curve, Jerry. Yeah. Sorry. What are you doing? I gathered as much.
He's really good, you know, you won't sing that. Taylor, you was not singing it. That was Paige. Or she's playing it though. Not take it off. No. Lakers.
I've used that what I made before. Senses of a position, right? And then because some of them might sort out. One second. That is a toss between simple geometry and right. Terrell, they feel so cooked. Super boy macro. Right. Huh. May, June, paper 20. Yeah, that's correct. I have no idea. Nicholas, right? Okay, guys, let's yeah, we have a little less than 50 minutes, so we're gonna kind of walk through this quick, right? Mr. Morgan administered a spelling test. Opinions, none right now. At Genesis and Maths, but afterwards we will open, no? Right. The table below shows the number of words out of 10 that each student spelled correctly. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the number of words 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 words, and the number of students that spelled each of these correctly is that. From the data set above was the mode. So the mode is the item with the highest frequency. What's the highest frequency? The highest frequency is 8, and that corresponds to 5. So the mode is 5 words, right? Cool. The median, okay, the median is the data point exactly halfway in the data set, right? Hold on. To find the mode, we have to find, sorry, the median, we have to find how many data points in the data set. 8 and 4 is 12, 12 and 2 is 14, 14 and 2 is 16, and 3 is 16 and 3 is 19. 19 and 4 is 23. Right, now check it. I think what you're asking about, Javier, right? When you have ungrouped data like this or raw data, you take n, you add 1, and then you divide by 2. So we have 23 data points. Please correct me if I'm wrong, eh? Right? 23 plus 1 is 24. 24 divided by 2 is 12. Now, 12 is not the median. The 12th reading is the median, right? Now, how do we find that? Well, you do your CF. What's 8 plus 4? Hey, 12. So the 12th item. So basically, what this means is we have 8 fives. So instead of writing 555, 555, 55, and then 66, 66, right? We know there are 8 fives and 4 sixes, right? 8 and 4 is 12. So the 12th item we would write down, if you write them in order, would be a 6. So the 12th item would be a 6. So the median, therefore, is 6 words. Right. Let me do maths in peace. True, don't believe everything in here. That's not a good idea. All right, ladies and gents in the class, are we okay with part A and part B? All right, cool. Liam, give me a quick G if you're okay with that one. All right, cool. Yeah. Right. So like I said, this n is the number of data points. It's the total CF, right? If you add 1 to it and divide by 2, you get the reading, which is exactly halfway in the thing, right? So what that means is that the median cuts the data set into 2 equal halves. What that means specifically is you have the same number of readings before it and the same number after. If you have 23 data points, right? They have the first 11, and they have number 12, and then the last 11. So that's what it is, right? That's what the median is. But the 12th reading, so what I'm saying, here we have 8 fives. So you can write out, yeah, question? You have a question? All right. They have 8 fives, then you had 4 sixes, and you had 2 sevens, and you had 2 eights, and you had 3 nines, and then you had 4 tens. Right? So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so this item here is the median. Right? And you have 11 items before it and 11 after. Right? When you have an even number, however, that'd be a little bit of a problem. Always have to imagine you had one less, right? So what would happen is if it's 22, so 11. So what happened if you had 22 people? It'd be 22 plus 1 over 2. Now that'll give us 23 over 2, which is 11.5. Now you can't have an 11.5 place. It's like if people run in a race and somebody came first and a half. That'll happen. So what has to happen is you technically have 2 items that are the median, the 11th and the 12th item, right? So that actually happens to be these 2 sixes. But what we would normally do, especially if they were different items, right? You would add them together and divide by 2 to find their average. Because they happen to be the same item, then you get the same value, right? Right. So the median is that, right? Okay, calculate the mean number of words spelled correctly. Right. So remember when we did f by x and multiply by the thing? Do that here. Let us multiply the frequency by the words, add up all those products, and then divide by 23. Laws and regulations. Why do you add on the 1 to the end? It's just the way we do it, but I know that's not like a good explanation. Basically, it helps us to find the midpoint faster, right? Because it allows us to literally go to the middle. Shoshana. Yeah, Liam, talk to me. Liam, here, I see you have your hand up. What's up? Talk to me. No? Okay. Oh, would you have to show that you added the whole frequency of 23? Yeah, they didn't ask for the CF. And it's just what is 1 mark. So yeah, no, you don't have to show that. That's not absolutely necessary. Right. So 5 by 8 is 40. 6 by 4 is 24. 7 by 2 is 14. 8 by 2 is 16. 9 by 3 is 27. 10 by 4 is 40. Right. So 14 and 16 is 30. Yeah, 40, 40, 30, and then 51. 40, 40, 30, that's 110 plus 50. 161? Right. Right. So to find the mean, again, you have to multiply each of these pairs together. Right? That's how I got these figures down here. And then you have to add up those figures and then divide by the 23. Right? So you should show 5 by 8 plus 6 by 4 plus 7 by 2 plus 8 by all that, and then divide that. So to summarize, you have 161 over 23. That's 7. Yeah, so 7 words is the mean. Yeah. Interquartile. Okay, hold on. Watch this, right? When you hear quartiles, what number comes to mind? 4. Right. When you cut a data set into quartiles, will you come to man, Philip, behave yourself? Right. Right. To cut a data set into 4 pieces, what you do first is you find the median. And then you have an upper half and a lower half. The lower quartile is the median of the lower half of the data. The upper quartile is the median of the upper half of the data. Right? So that's your Q1, that's your lower quartile. And you have your Q2, which is the median. And then you have your Q3, which is the upper quartile. Just now, hold on. If you have 24, you have 23 points, right? Right. Oh, you had a graph? Oh, shames. Right. Oh. Oh, so that don't have to do with this first part of the question. Oh, okay. Right, sorry. Philip, yeah, boy, Philip. Come on, man, Phil. I had a student, I tell her, I say, come on, man, Philip. My name do begin with an F. I say, well, neither does Phillips, but thanks for letting me know. Ever since that day, she was Philip with an F. Up to today, 15 years later. Okay, the attendance officer at a particular school recorded the time T in minutes taken by each student in a group to travel to school. The data collected is shown on the cumulative frequency curve below. Okay, so they gave you the curve. What do they want? Using the CF curve, find an estimate of the number of students who took at most 32 minutes to travel to school. At most, eh? Right, let me zoom in. Where's minutes, on the X or the Y? The X. 32, so 30 is here, so 30 to 40, right? So that's a scale like 1 to 10, but you have 5 blocks, right? So each block is 2. So the first line here will be the 32 line, right? So you read up to your graph, and then you read across to your axis. So going slow. Go faster. Thanks. Right. In this case, no. We had 90 people. Quartiles, boy. $90. So 1 to 45 or 1 to 4. So that would actually be the 23rd one. No, the lower quartile.
Yeah.
Well, didn't ask for that.
No, right. So.
Oh, sorry. I was doing 90. Wow, my brain tired. Right. So, okay. 220, half of that is 110. So you have 1 to 110 and then 111 to 220, right? In the 110 now, half of that is like 55. Huh? Just now, let me finish the question because we got 827. Uncle, why you O? Why you O? I don't know. Right, 7 is Q3 minus Q1 divided by 2. Skeleton, divide by 2. Right, that's the semi-interquartile range, right? Sorry, so here we read 32 across, so 40. So between 40 and 60 is 20. And if it's 5 small blocks, 20 divided by 4. It's 44, 48. So that's 52. Yeah. Who had 52? Right. Nah, I get 52. Jabari. So that's 52 students who took at most that long travel school. Right. Okay. All right. Check it. We asked him about interquartile range. I think it's important to touch on it because, strangely enough, it didn't come for the last 5 years. That's weird. It did? Yeah. We are seeing it. Look at that. Interquartile range. Okay, sorry. So Q3 minus Q1. Sorry. Right. So hold on. Q3 is the upper quartile. Q3 is the upper quartile. Q1 is the lower quartile, right? Let me take off this piece here. Okay, hold on. So 1/4 of 220 is 55. So we need to find where the 55th person is. All right, so we have 44, 48, 52, 56 is there, right? So just below that would be 55. So let's read across from here. You're 55, right? So when you read down there, that's 32. Well, somewhere so. That's fine. Sorry, question? Oh no, your hand is up. Right. That's the lower quartile. The upper quartile now will be 165 because it's just 3 times this, right? So Q1 is that. Q3 is equal to 3 times the 55. Now we can do this because it's group data. 165 now. So again, the first line above that is 164. So we just above that. Hey, give yourself. Right. Where was the I? There was there. Right. So let's go across. I feel like cussing in Jamaican sometimes. It's so cool. All right. Rascal. Right, there we go. Yes, you do. That's the semi-interquartile range. And that's 54 there. Right, so the upper quartile is 54 minutes, the lower quartile is 32. So 54, that's close enough. 32, and that's 22, right? Taj, yeah, what paper? May 2024. Trishana. No, Trishana. No. Yo. Trishana, are you still there? I wanted to ask you, and it moved you. I don't know if it's the whole, if it's just your comment, or if it's the whole thing. Trishana, you there? Anybody know Trishana? Please message and tell I didn't mean to do that. So can we shade it? Hold on, just now. After just now. Go to the channel, report. No, I don't want to hide it. No, add. Add as a moderator. No, I don't add a moderator. Add Trishana. Oh, okay. Sorry, Trishana. Yeah, no, I wanted to. You had I googled why you add the ones in the median formula. Right. You want to adjust for whether it's right, odd or even. That's correct. Sorry, I wanted to add the comment or something, but I click remove. Sorry. Yeah, no. Sorry, that's my bad. No, and there's a delay when I speak and when you guys hear it. It's like about 6 or 7 seconds. Sorry, Trishana, just copy and paste your comment again, right? Okay, guys. Okay. Right, folks, that's the interquartile. Now, this piece here we need to do because it's a new piece to the probability. It's not hard, but you had to know how to do it because anything hard if you know what you're doing, right? Like when you were small and you tried to untie your shoes and you know how to do it, it's hard, right? Okay, right, thanks for Shana, sorry about that. Right. The letters in the word positivity are each written on separate cards and placed in a bag. This here picks, or whatever, Dacia, right, picks 2 of these cards at random with replacement. Now what that means is she puts the cards back in the bag. Let me take it on a smaller scale. Suppose you have a bag, and in the bag you have a coin mark 1, a coin mark 2, and a coin mark 3, right? If the game was you win if you pull the 2, right? So what's the probability of pulling the 2? 1 out of the 3, right? Okay. Let me 1 out of 3, right? Let me say you're using the back and you pull out the 1 and you don't put it back. How many left? 2. So now what's the probability you pull the 2? A half, right? If you do not replace, that changes the probability. If you replace and you put back the 1, you have the same number of items as you originally had, right? It's what we call, it leaves the sample space unchanged, all right? So when they say with replacement, that's a very important detail. If they say without replacement, that's also very important, all right? All right, okay, now, all right, bold of you to assume I can tie my shoes now. Boy, Nicholas, I have my shoes lacing for the past, 15 years. I didn't Chelsea boots. Anyhow, right. Okay, find the probability. She picks the letter I, then the letter V. Okay, how many letters in total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 letters? Okay, how many of those letters are on I? 3. So the probability of pulling an I is equal to 3 out of 10. And it says, so when you pull the I, you pull it back. Not so? Okay. And then, yeah, Gabby, that's correct. What's the probability? How many V's in the letter? So the probability of pulling a V is 1 out of 10, right? So if she pull the I and she put it back, and then, yeah, that's what replacement means, right? Right. And then she pulled the V. So to find the probability of I and then V, that's what that, right? That's equal to the product of the probabilities. That's 3 out of 100. Right? No, I don't. 3% probability, that's correct. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. No, check it, right? Let's say, okay, so you're pulling 2 letters, right? How many letters it have in total? 10. If I pull the P, right, and I put it back, how many possibilities I could pull after? I have 10, not so? Right. So for any letter I pull and I put it back, I have 10 possibilities of the second letter, not so? And I have 10 possible first letters. So I have 10 possible first letters and 10 possible second letters. So 10 by 10 is 100. All right? All right, cool. Gabby, 3%. Yes. You're on the ball, Gabby. Oh, you put it on a Swiss. I love. Right. Folks, this is the new addition to the syllabus, which is what is called independent events. Independent events are consecutive events where the probability isn't changed, right? Look, if she had pulled out her I and she didn't put it back, how many letters you would have left? 9. And the probability of pulling the V would be now 1 out of 9, which is not the same as 1 out of 10, right? Those are called dependent or conditional events. Sorry, dependent events, which we're not doing. So the dependent events are not in the syllabus. Independent are, right? With replacement, that's what it means, right? So if you flip 2 coins, if you flip a coin twice, what's the probability of flipping a head? If you have 2 sides, heads or tails, what's the probability of flipping a head? A half, right? Because there's only 1 or 2 heads, right? Now, if you flip a second time, what's the probability of flipping a head? The same half, right? The probability of flipping 2 heads in a row is a half by a half, which is a quarter. Because if you consider all your possibilities, you can either pull a head first and a head second, a head first and a tail second, or tail then head, or tail then tail. How many possibilities is that? 4. Out of those 4, how many is head and head? 1. Right? So basically, the total number of possible outcomes is the product of the total number of outcomes in each item. Because you could do 3. Suppose it was 3 letters. Suppose, what's the probability of an I, then a V, then a T? Suppose you wanted I, then V, then T. How many I's? How many I's? 3 tenths. How many V's? 1. How many T's? 2. 3 by 1 by 2 is 6, and 10 by 10 by 10 is 1,000. I just make it up to show you. So if they keep adding events, you just keep multiplying. Right? Okay, folks. We at 8:30. So I'm sure you have cars outside pile up. Let me go. Tomorrow we hear from 10. If you can't make from 10, there's not a problem. We're planning to work, let me tell you. Measurement. When I say measurement, we talk about them cylinders, volume and thing, right? So we're doing that 10 to 12 and probably 1 to 3 again. Now, some of you all ask for the graphs after. We could try that, the graphs after. And then the last session, we'll see if I can pull something else. Anyhow. See, I see. Which particular part? Yeah, I see. Which particular thing? Say one more time. Well, that's what this was, Suki. This was probabilities too. Right? Okay, you're going right tomorrow. Yeah, Liam, just give me a quick G if you're good with our last part there. Please don't thank. Sorry. Okay, all right, Liam, I'm bouncing out there. I'll see you tomorrow, right? Later. All right, Kuna, tomorrow. All right. Okay, all right, Tyler. Okay, hold on. Jerry, yeah, from 10. All right, yeah, man, Javier, tomorrow, right? Sharada, yeah, we're going on here. So, what time is it for me right now? It's 8:38. My wife will be calling in 7 minutes. Right. TikTok, let me see, who are they? What is the volume of a trapezoid prism? Trapezoidal prism, okay. Matrix is last. Circle, right. Circle theorem seems to be a request. I had a C. Yo.
Tomorrow, if we're going for a walk, tell me no.
Okay.
Because I'm exhausted.
Yeah. I see. Since they wanted to find it, just multiply the product each of them. Yes, basically. Okay. Yeah, I see. If it is like consecutive events like that, like you pull a card, you put it back. All right, Paige, which one say? Yeah, you pull a card, you put it back, you pull a card, you put it back. Then, yeah, it doesn't multiply the individual probabilities together. Vectors, 10 in the morning, 10 in the morning, yeah. Kelsey, right. Here what, guys, I can't do all those topics, but I have those topics done. Cloudy, on my YouTube channel, I have tutorials from scratch with the matrices. Addition, subtraction, scalar multiplication, regular multiplication, how to find inverse and how to solve simultaneous, right? Gabriela Sankha. I feel like that's one of my former students from back in the day, from like 2014. I could be wrong. So that might have been Gabrielle, I'm not sure. I think I saw her recently and she was pregnant, so I don't know if that's the same person. Right. Sorry, let me see. Cable part. Good night, sir. Yeah, man. Good night. What if you don't put it back? What if I don't put what back? Yeah, man, Chocho. Circle theorem. Jabari. All right, Jabari. Check this, right? Real quick. If I have 2 coins, right? And I flip them. So on coin 1, I have a head and a tail. And on coin 2, I also have a head and a tail, right? So my possible outcomes are 4. And it so happens that that's actually the product of the outcomes on each of them, right? If instead of 2 coins, let's say I had a coin and a 6-sided dice, right? So let's say again, I had my coin here and I have a head and a tail. And I have my die, and on the die is a regular 6-sided die, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I could flip a head and flip any of these 6 numbers, or I could flip a tail and flip any of these 6. As you can see, the total there is 12, not so? If you don't put it back, Suki, and now see what you say, right? So again here, Jabari, it would be 6 by 2. If it was two dice, sorry, you'd have 6 by 6, 36 possible outcomes, right? So that's why we multiply the what you call independent events, right? Suki, if you do put it back, right? So like here, if we wanted the probability of a I, let me take a slightly easier. Let's say we wanted to pick the P then the O, right? But it wasn't with replacement, right? So let me say you pick to pick the P, that's 1 out of 10, right? If you do put it back, then you have 9 cards now. So so your denominator has now changed from 10 to 9. And the probability of picking the O will be 1 out of 9 as the product of that, right? If you did put back the P, you'd still have 10. right? So if they didn't put it back, Suki, that's what would happen. The denominator would change, and it would no longer be independent events. It would definitely be dependent events, and it's also called conditional probability, which I had a double check. I don't think that's on the syllabus. I know it's on the AdMath syllabus, right? And Mali, I know bouncing out there, boy. I was my fourth class for the day. I want to say it's 2 hours, but I start like half hour for each class. Right? I'm not happy about that. But I'm doing long shifts for the past 3-4 weeks. So I don't give myself a blind. So tomorrow should be the last long day for a few days. Catch back myself. And then yeah, so just so you know, people on the live, right? So tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is the last maths day before paper 2, right? Yeah, man, Jabari, no problem. When is ending? Grade 8, it was supposed to end 13 minutes ago, right? Yeah. Roberts, what's going on? Right. So which part are teaching? Which part as in where? Mr. Miru, that is an understatement. Yeah. Yeah, so tomorrow, right, is the last possible day to study for maths. I have notes to send from my accounts kids, my Form 6 kids. All right, so as you can see, the weekend, I don't pack up some AdMath sessions there, but I'm going to see if my assistant could do that. She's been actually handling the AdMath class since December. So I feel like if I jump back in now, I kind of disturb in the equilibrium. So I will leave that with her, right? So I'm gonna rest this weekend and set up my Form 4 classes to start back on Monday. Yeah, I'll be handling my Form 4 classes, right? So right after AdMaths, because English V and POB is this day. So this Tuesday is also kind of hard for other people, right? You and the AdMaths too. I find that's a real hard combination, right? Right. So after yeah, boy. But here the joke, eh? You see a vacation after, isn't it, for science? I have someone doing physics, yeah? Oh, you want to see my streaming setup? How I doing now, boy? Because I feel like if hold on, you're following me on Instagram. Oh, okay, okay, cool. Listen, let me answer my wife here, okay? Where you putting man to Giselle Bill? Sorry, guys, just give me a second. I'll print out something for my wife, uncle, and I can't find it. Right. 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 Oh yeah. Sorry. The name is Muslim. I don't know. Right. Okay. I'm more than in a week. Right. So hear the joke. Right. So even though I have all these Form 5 sessions going on, right? When the Form 5s leave, I had to make sure I have Form 4s to teach. Otherwise, I ain't making no money. And I had 2 children and a wife. Right. 3 children become my stepson, which I have to come because I take care of him. Right. So So yeah, so even though exams kind of slowing down, I had to repopulate with the Form 4s and bring real people. Because yeah, I had a money had to make, as they say, right? But as ethically as possible. Right? C-Sec ends there, and I will still be going until the 11th of July. When I say, well, term ends on the 11th of July. And then after that, I have a 6-week summer school. And usually I work from 10 in the morning until 6 in the evening, Monday to Friday. And then normally I get 2 weeks off at the end of August. But the summer vacation this year is only 7 weeks. I only have 1 week off. And then be back and I'll start again. So yeah, yeah. Says a busy man. Yeah, boy. Dio, yeah, I agree. It wasn't it. So am I going to work the 20th? It was hard. Yeah, everybody complained. I agree. I am going to work it, just not anytime soon. Malia, I saw the message you're talking about. I would say don't believe everything you see or you hear, right? Trishana, you're on with you, Trishana, from on YouTube too. All right, cool. Tomorrow we started with measurement, right? Measurement. I'm gonna show you the questions, right? Hello, you could open, please, thanks. Sorry, somebody wanted to see my streaming setup. Okay, one of the cameras I have here, right? So I have, where you going? Crap, that's just my belly. Why is it not showing? Right, that's my mic. That's one of the mics, right? There's a laptop here that I write on, right? Guys, that camera ain't making sense, right? What I got how to do is I got how to you have both on right now. What? I in stereo, boy. Left ears, right ears. All right, sleep down whole week after CXC, yeah, for sure. Question was not the syllabus. Yeah. Hey, I had to put something up on Instagram. I asked ChatGPT, I think. I want to read it out for Instagram. Yeah. Sorry, what I was saying, I want to show you guys what the measurement is. Right? So the questions are like where you have cylinders and cones and things, stuff like this. Hold on, who was asking about the trapezoidal prism? Right, it was from last year. You were asking about that one. Right, so that is one. So basically stuff like that, like solids and volumes, things that give people real trouble. Right, I definitely want to hit some of that. Right, now hold on. Malia had put up a thing every year. Isn't that what they say every year? Audio on one and the stream on one. Hold on. Okay, that's now. Trishana, which audio better? The TikTok audio or the YouTube audio? And which stream better? The YouTube stream or the TikTok stream? The YouTube, because I only have one camera on it there. Okay, cool. Yeah, that curve, we know about that curve. Not doing construction, now boy skeleton. I don't have the capacities to do construction on the screen. It's a little, I have a friend who's working with me and he sent me a website there. I have YouTube on my laptop, so it's bigger. So okay, cool, understood. Right, Mr. Miru, CXC doing real shares this time around. They changed something. Made an example for EDPM. On EDPM too? Right, hey, what? Bali do answers. Yeah, so the answers is cool. Yeah, that's all right. I will get around to it when I get around to it. I recorded my solutions for January and May 2024. Since February, I have 10 videos to edit. I can't get time to edit them yet. And I have the solutions for Jan 2025 done. Long time. Teacher gave me 75 years. Am I cooked? JJ, no, you're not cooked. Trishana, YouTube audio better too. IDK if it's my phone, but the audio on TikTok giving us feedback. I wonder, wait, hold on. It's too loud. All right, I'm gonna see but yeah, the funny part of the audio on YouTube, like on TikTok, sorry, it's like the little green bar or whatever. It's barely even make it up like even 1/5 of the whole thing. So I don't even know what are going on. Yeah, I know, small thing. Which I know about earlier, but yeah, I hear you. All right, I'm going to read to you all what ChatGPT told me today when I asked it. I said, look, these things are not on the syllabus, and I already fed the syllabus, or like when I have a phone call, same room and I give them some feedback. Okay, understood. Maybe it has to do volume in the mic. Might be that. Yeah. Current notes, pressure. Yeah. So I asked ChatGPT about this same thing with respect to if things are, and I fed the syllabus already, looking for a pattern for the pattern question, right? Yeah, ChatGPT. I talked specifically about the statement of account and the investments. It says you are absolutely right to raise this concern, especially as someone who has worked hard to align your teaching with the official CXC, CSEC, POA, SBA. It's not only a question of fairness, but of academic integrity, transparency, and student trust in the examination process. Here's a structured breakdown of how to understand a potential response. Okay, so first piece, right? The role of the syllabus in assessment. A syllabus serves as a contract between the examining body, educators, and students, a guide for instruction, revision, and exam preparation, a boundary that defines the scope of examinable content. If a topic is not listed, come on, man, Philip, right? In the syllabus and not even indirectly inferred under any learning outcome, then its inclusion violates the implicit contract and undermines the integrity of the exam. Right? Specific analysis for the two topics in question. a statement of account. As you rightly noted, this phrase does not appear in the syllabus. It is not listed under any learning outcome in the final accounts or ledger account section. This document, usually seen in accounts receivable or payable reconciliation, a topic more common in business or CAPE accounting, would not be expected unless it was clearly defined or introduced as optional enrichment content, which it was not. Conclusion: if no syllabus bullet or sub-bullet refers to this document type or its formal interpretation, its inclusion seems unfair. Investments, average investment rate and return. The word investments appears only once in the definition of financial institutions. It appears only once in the syllabus, right? The syllabus does not include calculations related to ROI, interest yields, or portfolio returns. Now, the one thing I will say is that return on capital employed can be used as return on investment. So that might not be 100% correct. Right. These are capital budgeting or finance topics, typically reserved for CAPE or university level business or accounting courses. Conclusion: including investment return calculations on the exam when no learning objective prepares students for them is pedagogically unjustified. Principles of fair assessment as defined by global education standards. Right, guys, as I reading this stuff here, I'm not checking it for comments. So if I do answer to your comment, don't feel how. Right? Internationally accepted assessment standards from UNESCO, Cambridge, and national education boards agree that a fair exam should be aligned with published learning outcomes, avoid surprise topics unless stated in general knowledge, provide students with equal opportunity to demonstrate what they were taught. What happened here in the CSEC POA paper 2 on May 6, 2025 contradicts these principles. Anyhow, now in the building, CSEC, hey, what's going on? Usually, Dio. Yeah, boy. Pacing it over. Pressure. All right, folks, I had a wrap up. Right. Yeah, because I had to go home to help my wife, my dear, lovely, beautiful wife, with our 3 children. So let me dig out. So folks, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Trinidad time, we back. I say in 10 o'clock. I intend to start 10 o'clock. Just allow me, because life, traffic, them kind of business, right? Cool. Yeah, Mr. Mirror, I agree. Sure, it wasn't 10 minutes good. Yeah, anyhow. So, guys, I go on there. I'll see some of all tomorrow. The rest of all you, have a good night. Good luck in the exam if I see you, and let me know how it goes. All right. Chris, out. I could find the button. Wow, okay. Yeah, Cloudy. Won't miss it. Interesting take. Yes, Suki. Just highlight it and press control. See and press control. Yeah. Don't worry. I'll go live. No, sorry. I'm going to put it up on my laptop. I'm going to hook up my phone, put it on hands-free, and do that. Maths is next, right? Thanks very much, guys.